Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Auntie Derek's Daytime Tea, where we discuss the latest celebrity tea in the news. And we do it live every weekday starting at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at auntiederek.com. I'm your host, Auntie Derek, and today is Monday, August 17th. So I do have to issue an apology. This is actually take two of a show that we were doing earlier. Unfortunately, a bitch had a power outage. So right in the middle of the show, and me and my co-host were talking, I just lost power and unfortunately had to end that show and was unable to publish that show. So I'm doing this one sans my co-host, but my co-host will return for tomorrow's recording. So yeah, so it's just you just got me solo dolo today, and we're gonna get through this tea. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. The first thing I would like to talk about, unfortunately, yesterday, most of us learned of the unfortunate passing of Hayden Panettiere. She happens to be one of my favorite actresses, has been for a very, very long time. I have this article here from People that gives a really good breakdown of everything. I'm going to actually share my screen so that way we can see this together and go from there. But you all should see, well, you see these pop-ups move, but by way of people.com, oh my God. Hayden Panettiere suffered a parent overdose, was unresponsive as advanced life support was administered before death. This is so sad. Well, new details have been revealed about the last moments of Hayden Panettiere's life. Police officers and EMS personnel responded to reports of an unresponsive female, later identified as 36-year-old Panettiere, at a residence in Greenville, South Carolina, at around 1:51 p.m. local time on Sunday, August 16th. The Greenville Police Department previously confirmed to People. According to dispatch audio obtained by People, officials were heard discussing an overdose and cardiac arrest around the time of Panettiere's death. The Greenville Police Department and Greenville County Coroner's Office are leading the investigation into her death. The preliminary investigation has not indicated any signs of foul play or suspicious circumstances, a spokesperson for the Greenville Police Department said in a statement obtained by People. An acquaintance of Ms. Panettiere placed the 911 call. On August 17th, the Greenville County Coroner's Office shared an update as to what happened when authorities answered the 911 call at approximately 1:51 p.m. on August 16th. First responders and emergency medical services arrived on scene and located a female in cardiac arrest. EMS personnel initiated advanced cardiac life support measures. However, resuscitation efforts were unsuccessful, and the individual was pronounced dead at pronounced deceased at 2:32 p.m. The individual was identified as Panettiere, who was found unresponsive inside the residence where she had been temporarily staying. The statement also said that an autopsy was completed on Monday. At autopsy, no signs of trauma were discovered that would have contributed to the death, read the statement by Coroner Mike Ellis. The cause and manner of death remain pending further investigation and the completion of additional studies. The investigation remains active and ongoing. No further details are available for release at this time. And on August 17, a source tells People that Narcan was found at the scene. Narcan is a treatment designed to rapidly reverse the effects of life-threatening opioid emergency. So I'm just going to go ahead and end there. I think we can pretty much piece together what happened with her, and it's very, very unfortunate. But condolences to her family, not her mom, based off of what I've been reading. But condolences to her family, most of them, um, her friends and fans. Like this was really, and only 36 years old. I feel like she has so much more to give, so much life to give, and but unfortunately now she and her brother can rest in eternal peace. So that is that on that. We have that there. And what we want to, Tyra Banks, honey. Let's talk about Tyra Banks and how Netflix is fighting back at her defamation lawsuit. And you all should see where I have to share here by way of TMZ. Netflix asked judge to toss Tyra Banks' defamation lawsuit over docuseries. Girl, so let's get into it. Netflix wants Tyra Banks' America's Next Top Model documentary defamation lawsuit off the runway for good. officially asking a judge Friday to toss it. The filing, obtained by TMZ, basically laughs off the model's claims Netflix defamed her and represented her in a poor light in this year's reality check Inside America's Next Top Model doc, arguing that she agreed to be interviewed and signed a release given the filmmakers broad editing rights and can't just sue because she doesn't like how she was portrayed. The filing further argues that when you take away Tyra's claims of manipulation and surgical editing, it's reduced to a request for more airtime and an edit to make her, and an edit more to her liking. Therefore, Netflix's legal team says a court does not have a right to second guess editorial judgments merely because an interview subject would have preferred different ones. Netflix further defended their doc in a statement shared with TMZ, saying Tyra Banks was given the opportunity to speak openly about her experience, and the creators fairly presented her perspective alongside those of every other participant shown in this documentary. We stand behind Reality Check Inside America's Next Top Model and will continue to vigorously defend it. Tyra's attorney, Tom Clare of Clarelock, pushed back against Netflix's narrative in a statement to TMZ, explaining Tyra Banks' lawsuit raises a simple question. Can viewers trust that a documentary presented as fact fairly represents what happened and what people actually said? Tom adds no one is disputing that documentaries are edited, but rather if the edits which made the final cut distorted the truth. He also says the lawsuit has nothing to do with Tyra being unhappy with the edit she received, but whether viewers were given an accurate representation of her words and the facts. He then challenged Netflix to release Tyra's complete, unedited interview to let viewers judge for themselves. He concluded, the facts are the facts, and here the facts are recorded and being hidden by Netflix. TMZ told us all about Tyra's lawsuit back in June, in addition to claims of manipulation and shady editing. Tyra said in her lawsuit, the doc led fans to believe she knew a contestant was sexually assaulted on her show and did nothing about it while exploiting the storyline for ratings. And when asked about it, she was made to appear like she didn't remember much, she claimed. Netflix has requested a hearing of their motion for October 30th. Mm-mm. Tyra, girl, you of all people, I really can't believe you even filed this lawsuit. And I am an America's Next Top Model fan, honey. I mean, a fan, fanatic, baby. And you of all people should not just imagine. This is literally the same thing that these girls are saying. That the contestants are saying about you, how you deliberately, editing deliberately misrepresented their words that they spoke and all of that. So I mean, it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, is it? Well, that is that on that. And what we have next, oh, some sports ball news. Y'all know I usually don't like any of my electronic devices to go on ESPN.com, but because I have a lot of sports fans that seem to listen to me, I do this for y'all. This is for y'all, honey. And this story here, so congratulations to Carl Anthony Towns and Jordan Woods, who were married over the weekend. And I'm going to share my screen. And you all should see here by way of ESPN, Carl Anthony Towns and Jordan Woods wed in Malibu ceremony. So Carl Anthony Towns and Jordan Woods have officially tied the knot. The star-studded couple married at a Malibu, California ceremony over the weekend, and the event was packed with notable names. From teammates Jalen Brunson, OG Anubani, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that, Anunobi, and Josh Hart were among the Knicks there. To superfans, Timothy Chalamet and Ben Stiller, representative of Towns' New York team, were plenty. But they weren't the only big names on the invite list. Michael B. Jordan, as well as Justin and Haley Bieber, were among a number of celebrities reported to be in the Golden State for the wedding. The guests also left Malibu with swag in hand. According to the New York Post, attendees received hoodies reading Married in Five, a play on Town's recent NBA Finals win with the Knicks, as well as Fanatic branded gift bags and In and Out cups. Oh, I wish I would have. I wanted a gift bag. Oh, it looks so cute. This is cute. Good for them. Okay. Work. Yeah, cute. I mean, that's all I got. Cute. It's cute. Two straight people getting married. Yay! I'm excited. Heterosexuality. Yay! Anyway, that's that on that. Congrats to them. Congrats to the happy couple. And yeah, that's all I got. And what else? Oh, more sports ball tea, honey. James Pierce Jr. This is someone that we've been talking about on the show for quite some time now with him and his I think they're exes now because I don't think they're together anymore, but Rakia. Um, but because of what happened with Rakia Jackson, honey, he has had some games suspended. hmm And you all should see I've just shared here by way of TMZ. James Pierce Jr. suspended for Rakia Jackson domestic dispute. Okay, well listen, if the police department didn't want to press no charges, honey, they was like, well, look, we not doing that here. The sports ball people. Who he played for? The NFL? Yeah, the NFL. The NFL. Oh, the NFL. Now they want to have some. Anyway, girl, don't even get me started. Anyway, let's get into this story. Atlanta Falcons defensive end James Pierce Jr. just got handed a hefty punishment as a result of his domestic dispute with WNBA star Rakia Jackson, as the NFL just suspended him without pay for nearly half of the 2026 season. The news drops minutes ago via NFL insiders, with Ian Rappaport noting JPJ will be able to participate in all preseason activities as the 8-game ban will start on August 30. He will be eligible to return on November 2nd. Pierce Jr. agreed to enter a 6-month intervention program as a result of the February 7 incident. If he completes it, all charges will be dropped. It's a huge break, as he was initially hit with felony aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, fleeing police and resisting arrest, and misdemeanor stalking. Although the aggravated battery was later dropped due to a lack of evidence. As TMZ reported, Pierce Jr. was accused of ramming his Lambo SUV into Jackson's car as she drove toward the Doral City Police Department after their relationship ended. When cops got to the scene, they claimed Pierce Jr. ignored orders and drove off, and later crashed his own whip and fled on foot. He was eventually taken into custody. Jackson filed for a restraining order days later, claiming without it, she was worried James will kill me. Jackson had previously stated she was willing to testify against Pierce Jr., but ultimately signed off on his intervention program. Prosecutors stated Pierce Jr.'s action appeared to be due to a mental health crisis, as he does not have a history of violence. His attorney said the NFLer is taking measures to address his mental health. Pierce is entering his second season with the Falcons after earning 10.5 sacks in his rookie outing. Mm, baby, I'm so glad this girl got that. Yes, get that restraining order now. Cheating. Listen, I have my own thoughts about this, and the way that they try to, oh well, he has a mental health issue, he doesn't have a history of violence that we know about. Baby, you trying to you go from zero to hitting somebody with your car. Oh no, there were a few stops in between that, we just didn't see it. So mm-mm. Arkham Asylum is where if you ask me, put his ass in Arkham Asylum and melt the king. That is before somebody because somebody might not live to tell about it and get a restraining order. You keep fucking around, but that's that on that. And what we got? Oh, Matt Gutman, bring your ass to the front of the line. Matt Gutman, I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Oh my God. Child, I have this story here from TMZ, and you all should see where it says here CBS News correspondent Matt Gutman accused of harassment by former coworker. Honey, this I be telling y'all when it comes to a heterosexual men, honey, always have it in the back of your mind. Hey, they might be a predator at the end of the day. Allegedly. Well, CBS News chief correspondent Matt Gutman has reportedly been accused of harassment by a former colleague. The allegations are part of a broader wrongful termination lawsuit against ABC News by former ABC field producer Samara Saeed, who says she worked with Gutman while employed by ABC between 2021 and 2025. Gutman joined CBS in January 2026. The lawsuit, filed Friday in Los Angeles and reviewed by TMZ, accuses Gutman of being inappropriate on two occasions. During one instance, Saeed accuses Gutman of initiating a discussion with her and a group of male employees in which they would rate a female correspondent's appearance, reducing her professional standing to a numerical score based on her physical attributes. Saeed claimed she was asked to join the discussion but declined and stated the conversation was inappropriate. During another incident, Saeed claims Gutman pushed back when she wanted to leave a work site. She alleges he responded by making a sexual gesture and saying she must have an after hours date in the city. The lawsuit reads, the remark made audibly to others demeaned Saeed and reduced her professional judgment to a sexualized stereotype. Saeed's lawsuit also comes after ABC allegedly fired her for unlawfully accusing them of letting her go after they failed to provide her legally required accommodation after she fell ill with COVID-19, and then she was sent to cover the 2022 Uvalde school shooting. The sickness followed by such reporting left her with severe psychological symptoms, resulting in a psychiatrist approved medical leave that lasted until early 2023 per the legal docs. When she returned, Saeed claims the network violated California's Fair Employment and Housing Act by not making necessary accommodations for her. She also claims ABC ignored her when she made the company aware she was injured while covering the Los Angeles wildfires in January 2025. Saeed said she was terminated by ABC in March of 2025. And Saeed is seeking unspecified compensatory and punitive damages as well as attorney fees, according to the court docs. TMZ has reached out to ABC and CBS for comment, plus a rep for Gutman, and so far, no word back. Mm. We was rooting for you. My girls they spoke so highly of you when we started first talking about you and the alleged beef that you have with Tony Dokapil, and this comes out. Mhm. Well, child, that is that on that. I will follow this story to see if anything comes of that. This next story. So another ESPN story. This one is about Charles Oakley. He had a case against Madison Square Garden, and unfortunately for him, it was dismissed by a judge. So let's get into. Let me share my screen, and you all should see on your screen. Judge dismisses Charles Oakley's assault case against Madison Square Garden. So a judge sided with Madison Square Garden in its lengthy battle with Charles Oakley on Friday, saying the former New York Knicks All-Star had not proved he was assaulted when he was removed from a game in 2017. Oakley was handcuffed and arrested after an altercation with security while sitting near owner James Dolan during a game against the LA Clippers. Oakley initially brought several claims against Madison Square Garden that were dismissed in February 2020. After appeal, Oakley's assault and battery claim remained. But Judge Richard J. Sullivan of the Southern District of New York ruled that Oakley has produced no evidence to support his claim that he was assaulted by Madison Square Garden security guards. Madison Square Garden has pointed to video evidence and previous testimony that Oakley was not assaulted. For more than 9 years, Mr. Oakley's lawyers have pursued claims they knew were false. Those claims have now been dismissed by the court in their entirety for the third time. MSG said in a statement, we are pushing legal action against Douglas Wigdor and his unscrupulous law firm to hold them accountable for years of frivolous litigation and their blatant abuse of the judicial system. Oakley was a beloved Knicks forward in the 1990s, and he is one of the few former players who remained absent from MSG during the team's recent playoff runs, culminating with this year's NBA championship. His removal from the game was a jarring scene, but Sullivan ruled that Oakley hadn't proved it was done with excessive force. Ample evidence, including videos and multiple angles of the unanimous testimony of every witness, even to some extent Oakley himself, shows that Oakley had a reasonable opportunity to depart the garden, that he instead resorted to physical violence, and that he was never pushed to the ground, Sullivan wrote. The judge added that No rational jury could conclude that Oakley reasonably feared himself um, at risk of wrongful physical contact, let alone that MSG intended to stir such an apprehension. Wigdor still hopes a jury will get a chance to rule. We are disappointed with the court's ruling, he wrote in the email. We believe there are conflicting accounts and only a jury can decide what actually happened. We are hopeful that the Second Circuit will agree for a third time and remand the case for an immediate jury trial. Um, Mr. Wigdor, hang it up, flat screen. Hang it up. They already said, look, we got video, witnesses, even Judge Mr. Oakley himself, Charles Oakley himself said, pretty much said he had every opportunity to leave himself, but he didn't want to. He wanted to make a scene. So it got a little rough. But unfortunately, you can't prove that it got a little rough, is what I'm hearing. Well, child, that is that on that. Baby Stephen A. Smith, honey. Mm. Imagine being so coon-like, being such a coon that the National Associations of Black Journalists give your ass a thumbs down. When I tell you that would make me just want to crawl under a rock and die. First of all, I love my niggas, and my niggas love me, baby. But that's mm, mm. See, when you do coonery, the coon comes back to bite. Well, and you all should see I have just shared the story here by way of Hot New Hip Hop, which tells us Stephen A. Smith does mob boss routine after NABJ snub. So let's get into it. Stephen A. Smith has been the subject of criticism over the last few years amid his political pivot. The First Take host has been ingratiating himself with right wing pundits like Sean Hannity, Ben Shapiro, and many others. Meanwhile, his rhetoric has become increasingly aligned with the Republican Party. This has ultimately led to some feelings as though he is selling out the Black community. In fact, over the weekend, the National Association of Black Journalists set their sights on Smith. They awarded Stephen A. with the Thumbs Down Award for the way he has conducted himself over the last year. Just last year, the NABJ invited Smith and First Take to their stage. This year, the tone was much different as Smith continues his right wing descent. That said, Smith was made aware of the award and he immediately jumped into his mob boss routine, threatening the NABJ with a rant that will likely take place either today or tomorrow. This is the epitome of Christmas arriving early, Smith wrote. The NABJ wants to call folks out. Fine. You had your turn. Now mine is coming. And make no mistake, I'm coming. Let's see who really deserves a thumbs down award when it comes to the black community after I say my piece. Remember, NABJ, you asked for it. I've shut my mouth for years. Now y'all started something. Smith Maulbach's routine has become his shtick as of late. Every time he is criticized, he acts as though the sky is falling. It is as if some great injustice has been imposed upon him. While his supporters love his tactics, there's no denying that the average person can see right through it. And I'm certainly the average person in this case. We call him Stephen a fucking Coonsmith on this show. So, yep, go ahead and say what do you think your ass is gonna say that's gonna honey, I want to see what his ass got. Matter of fact, I don't want to see it. Somebody to look at it and summarize it for me. I'll look at it later. I can't. Not that one. Child, what that is that on that? This story is actually really, really interesting. So they saying that there was a assassination plot with a Ukrainian American rapper. He survived the assassination plot, but they saying that Vladimir Putin put a hit out on his ass, honey. I'm like, huh? Yes, you heard me right. So you all should see I have just shared here by way of all hip hop. And this is about a rapper who goes by Kiv Stoner. Let me see if I can get a picture of him so we can see what he's looks like. Okay. I think this is a good picture here for us to use of this guy. Let me share it. Okay, so this is the rapper who goes by Kiev Stoner, and we're going to be talking about him in this story. And this is a wild and crazy story. So let's get into it. Ukrainian rapper Kiev Stoner survived what could have been his last day on Earth when Polish security services dismantled an FSB assassination plot targeting the Ukrainian American rapper in Warsaw. A 29-year-old Russian national was arrested last Friday after counterterrorism and homicide police moved in on the suspect in Mokotów, a residential district south of central Warsaw, according to The Sun. The regime's got a problem with him, and they were willing to kill to solve it. Kiev Stoner, whose real name is Slevin Dadian, who's 34, became a target because Russia's Federal Security Service claimed he's orchestrating drone logistics to attack Moscow. The FSB accuses him of managing the supply chain for first person view drones destined for attacks on strategic facilities in the Russian capital and surrounding regions. The alleged weapons pipeline ran from Slovakia through Poland and Belarus, according to Polish media reports. Moscow branded him an extremist and terrorist, adding his name to its blacklist. But here's where it gets interesting. Before Putin's 2022 invasion, Kiev Stoner spent years in Moscow working with Russian rap star Basta back when the regime actually supported hip hop artists. Putin's relationship with rap has always been complicated. He once invited popular rappers to perform at his presidential inauguration. But when rappers like Husky started speaking out, the regime cracked down hard. Husky was arrested and jailed on charges of minor hooliganism after performing on the street in Krasnodar. He then declared the genre rests on three pillars: sex, drugs, and protest, and insisted the government needed to navigate and guide accordingly. More than 10 high profile rappers have left Russia since 2023, fleeing a regime that now treats the genre as a threat. Kiev Stoner's situation represents the ultimate irony. A rapper who once collaborated with Moscow scene is now hunted by the very same system that once celebrated hip hop. Kiev Stoner first gained fame through viral comedy videos before becoming one of the founders of Ukrainian hip hop group uh, Hiribi. Hiribi, and I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that. When the full scale conflict erupted in February 2022, he fled Kiev with his family to the US, where he stayed for 2 years before relocating in Slovakia in 2024. The rapper has publicly condemned Moscow's aggression while supporting Ukrainians fighting Russia, though he's also criticized President Zelensky in interviews. Kiev Stoner flatly denies Russia's allegations that he's working with Ukrainian security services. Yo, uh, this is where like someone like me, honey, who's very opinionated, free speech, like you really like freedom of speech is something that I feel like a lot of Americans truly take for granted. I certainly don't. I know because like just imagine first being an artist that was working with this group of people and they think you doing something shady, so they want to have you killed and almost did it had it not been for girl. Mm-mm. Woo child. That is something. Well, I have three more stories left. Oh no, four. So four more stories left. My bad. I can't count. So the fourth one, I won't spend too much time on it because I don't see I don't see it for Perez Hilton's ass, honey. I'm not a fan. Will never be a fan. But I have this TMZ article here that gives us an update on his condition. And you all should see where it says here by way of TMZ, Perez Hilton receiving inpatient medical health care. Site starting to post again. Mm. Well, Perez Hilton is still in the hospital nearly 2 weeks after his frightening live stream, his family announced, and his site is set to return to regularly scheduled programming. In an update on Perez's celebrity gossip website, his family tells fans that he is still in the hospital after the August 4 TikTok live, but they specify that he is in an inpatient setting getting the care he needs from both physicians and mental health professionals. Inpatient mental health care can sometimes indicate a longer stay where patients remain hospitalized for extended periods of time while they recuperate. While we don't know if this is the case for Perez, we do know his team will resume uploading celeb stories to his site. TMZ confirmed that Perez was treated for an overdose and multiple injuries on August 4 after authorities responded to reports of a possible suicide attempt at his home before he was transported to the hospital, according to the police report. Perez's sister, Barbara, detailed the horrific scene she said she found her brother in, telling Page Six about the moment she found him saying, "When I opened the door, my nightmare became a reality." Perez was standing in front of the shower, naked, cut up, covered in blood, with a box cutter in his hand. Another shocking detail about Perez's live stream has come to light last week. His family confirmed his children, niece, and sister were all home as he was experiencing a severe mental health crisis, and harming himself. But his sister confirmed they immediately fled to protect the children from witnessing any further trauma. And this ends with, if you or someone you know is struggling or in crisis, help is available. Call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org. Mm. Okay, well, congratulations, girl. Congratulations, happy birthday. Whatever's clever. Whatever. Anywho. And what we got next? Oh, an update from a story that we went over Friday with Selena Gomez and her mama. And let's get into this, honey. You all should see I have just shared an article here by way of TMZ. And it says Selena Gomez's attorney calls fraud accusations meritless. Let's go ahead, get into it. Selena Gomez's lawyer says the claims against his client are total BS and they're ready to fight it out in court. Matthew Rosengart released a statement after two companies filed a lawsuit against Selena, her mother, Mandy Teefey, and their former business partner, Daniela Pearson, claiming they misrepresented the strength of their mental health company, Wonderminds, to investors. He tells TMZ allegations against Selena engaged in any fraud or other wrongdoing are completely meritless, both factual and legally. People was the first to report Rosengart's statement. Rosengart promises to vigorously defend his client from the allegations and add he's already working on a motion to dismiss the baseless claims. As TMZ reported, Wondermind SRS 44 LLC and Bespoke Wondermind LLC are suing the three women over Wondermind Global, claiming they made false representations about the infrastructure, leadership, and resources necessary for the company to launch into a profitable platform. Despite appearing in multiple interviews about the company, Wondermind SRS 44 LLC and Bespoke Wondermind LLC say Selena was barely involved with the actual operations, and they allege Daniela stretched the truth about her success in the business world. The companies claim for 3 years, while the company quietly collapsed around them, not one of its founders, officers, or directors said a word to the investors whose money was funding the collapse. They say they only learned of the company's issues because of an article published by The Cut, which also alleged Mandy had substance abuse issues. Mandy denied the substance abuse claims and that the company was a mess to The Cut. Mm-mm. And I done saw some blind items over the weekend that suggest that those substance abuse treat accusations might be true, allegedly, and they said that they kind of the what I read, it was the energy was like Selena is glad that this is happening because it teaches her mom a lesson or something like that. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just reading it what the blind item said. So that is that on that. And what we got next. Oh, this is an interesting story about the Isley brothers, how they've been fighting over the name, honey. Fighting over their name. Yes, the Isley brothers have been fighting over their name as performers. And let's get into the details. You all should see where it says here by way of all hip hop, the Isley brothers in family feud over legendary name. Well, Ronald Isley and his late brother's estate just wrapped up their 3-year legal battle over who owns the rights to the name the Isley Brothers. And the settlement came through this week without any public details about what either side actually agreed to do. The two have been fighting in federal court since 2023 over the trademark to one of soul music's most legendary group names, with Rudolph claiming he and Ronald should own it together and Ronald insisting the name belongs to whoever kept using it. Attorneys for both sides filed a joint dismissal, ending the dispute with prejudice, which means Rudolph's estate can't bring the same claims back to court. Rudolph filed the original lawsuit months before he passed away in October 2023 at the age of 84, accusing his brother of trying to lock down exclusive federal trademark registration for the Isley brothers without his knowledge or permission. He argued that after their brother O'Kelly died in 1986, he and Ronald remained equal co owners of the group's name and everything that came with it. Ronald's legal team pushed back hard, pointing out that Rudolph hadn't performed with the group since 1989 and had basically checked out decades ago, so the trademark belongs to whoever was actually using it in the music business. The judge initially sided with Rudolph's argument that he had a legitimate case, refusing to dismiss the case back in August 2023 and citing specific examples of his involvement in the group's business. Judge Thomas Durkin noted that Rudolph had helped secure a multi-million dollar publishing deal in 2018 and arranged for the group's classic track Shout to appear in a Super Bowl commercial in 2023, suggesting he remained connected to the group's operations even if he wasn't on stage. After Rudolph's death, his estate stepped in as the plaintiff and kept fighting, but negotiations eventually led to this week's settlement. Well, congratulations, honey. If I see anything that has any more details of what the settlement entails, I will definitely let the class know. And the last story I have for us today, honey, the Supreme Court said, Trump, sit your fucking ass down. Ain't nobody got time for this bullshit. Sit down. Go sit your ass down. And make sure you change your diaper before you do. Because we don't want no shitty smells all up in the seats. But you all should see where I've just shared here by way of ABC News. Supreme Court rejects final Trump appeal of 5 million of E. Jean Carroll verdict. Let's get into it, honey. So, the Supreme Court on Monday declined a request from President Donald Trump to reconsider its rejection of his appeal in the 2023 E. Jean Carroll case. The decision means it's the end of the line for Trump's bid to overturn a $5 million jury award to Carroll, which the writer's representative said she was paid in July. The court did not explain its decision, and there were no noted dissents. No request for a rehearing has been granted since the 1960s. A jury determined in 2023 that Trump was liable for sexually abusing Carroll, a former Elle magazine columnist, in the dressing room of a Manhattan department store in the 1990s, and that he defamed her in a 2022 social media post by calling her allegations a hoax and a lie and saying, "This woman is not my type." In 2024, following a separate trial, Trump was ordered to pay $83.3 million in damages to Carroll for defaming her in 2019 when he denied her allegations of sexual abuse. Trump, who denies any wrongdoing, is continuing to appeal that judgment with a petition to the justices currently pending. They are expected to decide later this year whether or not to take up the case. In his appeal, Trump alleges that his 2019 comments about Carroll, which were later found to be defamatory, were, quote, unofficial, unquote, statements as president and therefore immune from use in a legal case against him. Girl, I'm so sick of him. I'm sick of it. Sick of him. But at least look, that same Supreme Court that he tried to, fluff up with his appointees, honey, they still turned their back on his fucking ass. Like, look, no, bitch. You did that shit. Enough. Well, you all, that was actually all of the tea that I have for us today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to listen to me discuss the tea. Like I said, my co-host will be back with me tomorrow. So again, apologies for the technical difficulties from earlier. And don't forget to subscribe to a bitch. Head over to auntiederrick.com, hit that big green subscribe button at the top left, and join my free mailing list. And I'll send you your hugs to your inbox daily. And until tomorrow, I hope you all have a fabulous rest of your day. Bye, everybody.